Yo, what up? It's Hoop. It's the Hatening. This is the last episode of my trip to the West Coast studio. So, yeah, we'll see if we can make things continue to sound this good when I go home. Yeah. So today I want to talk about state pride, and I have already like done an episode about like where you're from and like how you identify like. Where you say where you're from and all that stuff. But I really specifically want to talk about state pride, right? And if you fuck with the state that you're from, as I'm sure almost everyone who listens to this knows, I'm from Maryland, and I shit post a lot about Maryland, but like real shit, I have a lot of like state pride for Maryland. It is my favorite state. I bought a house there for a reason. I will die in Maryland. You know what I mean? I will be buried in Maryland. It is the best state. I would never want to live anywhere else. And that being said, like, how the fuck do you feel about your state, dude? Like, for real, like, either the state you live in now or, like, wherever you're from, like, I guess we could do that. But, like, because I know people who, like, really, really, really hate where they're from, right? They, like, do not identify at all with the state at large. Now, normally the people who feel that way are people who like live in like a metropolitan area in like an otherwise very conservative state. Like that's kind of like the vibe that I get from the people that I know personally, right? Like people who live in like, not to like, and I swear to God, I'm not trying to do any like stereotypes as to like, regional specific, like, whatever the fuck, right? I'm not going to sit here and like shit on the South or shit on whoever the fuck, but like I know people who live in like Birmingham or like Atlanta or like, places like in Florida and shit, and they will be like, yo, I fuck with the city I live in, I fuck with my like immediate community, but like I do not fuck with my state. Like I don't have like state fucking pride. Like I have like, my pride does not extend that far, and I get that. Like I really do get that 100%, but like, I exist on the opposite end of that spectrum, my guy. Like, I love Maryland. I really do love being from Maryland also. And that's not something that, like, has been around for my entire life, And so, like, and I know other people who live in other states, and for whatever reason, they're, like, all about it, right? They fucking love it. They are all in. And I fuck with it. Like, I mean, I fuck with, like, both ends of this, like, we'll call it an issue now to make it sound more dramatic. But, like, I don't know, like, it's interesting either way. Like I like hearing why people like are very ride or die for their state or like for like the culture that has been like perpetuated from that state. In the same way that like I always find it very interesting when people who don't identify with like the stereotype of their state or whatever the fuck or the general vibe that you get from being in that state. You know what I mean? Because every fucking place has a vibe, right? Whether it be like real or perceived, right? Because that is like a very real thing. Like you go to certain places and you're like, well, I've heard the people here act this way. Thus, I'm going to, view everything through this lens of like they want this or they feel like that or whatever the fuck. But you know what I mean? I like talking to people who live in areas where they like don't identify with like the culture at large when it comes to like the state vibe, right? Because I mean, like it's cool. It really is cool. But I'm going to tell you right now, like I really do love being from Maryland. But it wasn't always like that, And so, like I said before, and whenever I talk to people who have like really strong opinions about where they're from or where they live, I typically like to ask like when they really developed that strong feeling, because for a very long time, like when I was growing up, like I really did not like being from a small town in Western Maryland, like, and because of that, like I really didn't have like Maryland pride. I didn't really have like any type of like regional anything, and then when I left for college, and then when I started like touring around the country and stuff, like in the DIY bands I was in, like, and I got to kind of like get out there and like get a feel for other places. I started to like appreciate Baltimore, but I started to like just like appreciate Maryland in general, and then it slowly built. And then like I originally had like a lot of pride like being in Baltimore, when I moved there, and then when I kind of like decided to like post up in Baltimore and like live there and shit. And then like, that slowly developed into like going to other places in the state and being like, oh, actually like this place fucking rocks. you know, and then like getting more like in tune with like the general culture or whatever the fuck. And like some of it is ironic, but a lot of the other stuff, like, you know what I mean? I just like it. You know, I like being from Maryland, and I don't like rep it super hard, but you know what I mean? I'm very into it, like the Maryland identity, like state identity, right? I know a lot of people aren't, or a lot of people do it ironically, or they do it because they think it's like funny, or they just actually, I know people who are just like very fucking into like the whole crab cakes and football thing. You know what I mean? I know a lot of motherfuckers who are really into that, or they're really into like the Eastern Shore, like duck hunting vibe, or like the kind of just like general like Northern Maryland, like redneck thing, like, or like, you know, all the wet necks that I know. But like, you know, I just like, I don't know. I think that Maryland's the coolest state that I've been to, for a lot of reasons. But like, I know people who would say the same thing about fucking Michigan or fucking New Mexico, or, you know what I mean? Like any fucking state, like you name a state, like obviously there are people who fucking don't like it, and then there are people who fucking love it. And it's cool. Like, it really is cool. Like, I know people who go full psycho for that shit, you know, and they just have like state flags and fucking maps and like whatever the fucking stereotypical thing is for that state. Like, that's all their fucking decor, and like the guest room, or like at their fucking parents' house. You know what I mean? Like, you have the shit in the fucking garage where it's just like a lot of shit pertaining to like the industry of the state, or like the state's fucking like college teams and shit. Like, I will say that that is one thing. Like, I do fuck with Maryland like very heavy, but I really don't have like the college allegiance stuff. Like, not even to the point where like I'll watch it if it's on. Like, I really don't care that much about college sports. I wanted to get more into it, you know, but like I'm not someone who's like really big into like the University of Maryland. But I do know people who like, you know, are so into the state that they live in that they will watch like that state school's games because it's just like such a fucking event, you know? I mean, it's the same fucking thing as like if you live in a fucking city and they have like an NFL team, you kind of just like watch it when it's on, you know? But like college athletics are not my fucking steez. But like I do know, like, yeah, I do know a bunch of people who once they got into their state were like, yep, this is my team now. This is the team that I watch. You know, I haven't really gotten there yet, but it's cool. Like, it is very cool. I think it is like kind of annoying when people like, you know, do nothing but complain about their state or complain about like what's going on. Like, and I get that like sometimes shit really does suck and your only outlet is to like complain on social media. It's not my favorite thing to view, but like, do you know, I don't really care. And like in the same way that like people who just like like, you know, just fucking post all the time about how much they love where they're from. And I do like, I like I said, like I'll shit post about Maryland, or I'll especially shit post about like Baltimore and stuff. But I really do like it, but it is very kind of like, all right, we get it, dude. Like when people just kind of like only post things about how like great their home state is, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I have like a really good friend where I constantly buy him like Maryland flag gear that he uses pretty regularly, which is cool. And it kind of like, you know, like I think a lot of like state pride, like not a lot of it, but I feel like a lot of people who have like a lot of state pride, some of it is like a little ironic, right? Especially if we're younger. Some of it is a little goofy and just like lighthearted and stuff. But like, you know, at the end of the day, like when it's all said and done, like I think it's cool when people have pride in things that are bigger than themselves, right? Because like you're part of your community, obviously, and like you matter more in your neighborhood than you do in your city, than you do in your county, than you do in your state, than you do in your country, you know? But that being said, like you are still like part of your state and shit. So like I like it when people are into where they're from. You know, I find it more interesting than people who just like detest where they're from, if I'm being completely honest. You know, I think that there's like a little more like social artistry and like picking and choosing the things that sort of like go along with living in your area, you know, finding the things that you like and like sort of like exploring the resources or like using what you have at hand, right? And like, you know, having fun when you can and finding what joy you can out of like living where you are. You know, I find that more interesting than people who just like, you know, have like this blanket statement of just like, I hate everything that has to do with living here, right? For example, you know, like if you're from the Midwest, like I always find it interesting when like I have homies who are like, yeah, you know, like it kind of sucks living here, but like the hiking is awesome. Like I live near the fucking mountains, so I can fucking do like mountain biking, you know what I mean? Like that shit, like that's kind of like, the zone that I appreciate people existing in when it comes to like where they're from, if I'm being honest. Like the social stuff is one thing, but I feel like if you do live in like a place where like the people suck, like I hope that you could at least find things you like outside of just like the general people, you know? Find like outdoor activities or find like other shit that you can do like to be part of like that larger community. You know, not to get like weird and like preachy about like how much easier life is when you're not fucking depressed and angsty and against everything. But like honestly, like once I kind of like stopped being like, I hate being from Maryland, I hate, you know, the people I grew up around, I hate the general culture and the vibes of where I'm from, the vibes are fucked, bro. You know, once I kind of like got over that and was like, well, things do suck, but I like doing these certain things, and like, I don't know, I definitely like started to appreciate where I was from more. I started to just kind of like, it took a lot of weight off my shoulder and made me feel a lot better once I kind of like came to terms with being like, no matter how much I hated my upbringing or parts of it for whatever reasons, or like where I was or like what I was doing, you know what I mean? Like, it's part of me and I'm part of this place, and like we gotta kind of like live in tandem, and it's like much easier if you just kind of like pick your battles, you know, or like try to find things that you can enjoy in order to not be fucking miserable, you know? So yeah, the people might suck, but just don't hang out with the people, you know? Go fucking swim instead. You live in a fucking beach town, dude. You know what I mean? Like, use whatever is around you to like make yourself happy, because there's shit that can make you happy where you live, especially stuff if you live somewhere like where like you have geological features that other people don't have. Like, it's fucking chill. Just passively do that chill stuff and like just don't worry about the people around you, because your state's pretty cool. All the states are pretty fucking cool. None of them are as cool as fucking Maryland. It's the greatest fucking state to ever exist in any fucking one of the multiverses or whatever, but like, yours is probably a close second, I will give you that. Like, you'll never be Maryland, but you can be close, you know? But that's it. That's the end of the episode. If you like the show, please subscribe. Please review us wherever you listen to podcasts. That's the best thing that you can do for the show. We really do appreciate it. If we would appreciate if you would, you know, just go ahead and do that for us real quick, please. It's so fucking easy. If you like the show, please tell your friends. People have been doing that. We've been getting more listeners, and it fucking rocks. Thank you so much. If this is your first episode, what up? Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, you can find The Hatening on all social media platforms, and from there you can find the remaining profiles for myself and Andrew. Yeah, take care of yourself and the people around you, and don't forget to tell your friends you love them.